I'll just say hi to him before we start.
Hey, Brian.
What's up, baby?
Brian, it's Artie. Thanks for doing this, brother.
You got it, man. Sorry I haven't been more available.
No, it's okay. You're always great. There's a comic with me named Joe Machi, funny guy. He may or may not talk, so just know that, Joe. It's
Hey,
Brian
Brian.
Jones. And,
Cool.
he's a big...
Who is this Joe? Who is this Joe that is not familiar with me? Who is this average Joe?
Well,
I'm
he's
sorry, I'm
under-
just not that old.
He's under 50.
I should have said that. I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm busting your balls, baby. I'm not that well known. I like to keep it that way.
Here we go. With this to me is arguably my best guest ever on my direct TV show. Certainly best black guest. And when we say when I say that is people think this is racist, but don't look into this. I say most well-behaved guest. Most guest who knows his place the best. No, as you can tell, he's funny. He's fucking hilarious. He's one of the best football players with a lot of street cred. He's a tough motherfucker, a ladies' man, if I might add. He always looks cool, and he's a good man. Brian Jones, and he's on the radio now. Brian, what's up, man?
Hey, man, Artie, I miss you, baby. It's been way too long, and yes, we had some great times on your direct TV show. Those are some of the fondest memories I've had. We had some great times no matter where you were doing your show from. I remember that shithole we used to do it from when you were with Fox. Remember that building over there at the Rockefeller Center?
Oh, God, yeah. Well, that was when me and Nick had the show. It was just on the radio. It was very intimate, and you came in, and you were so funny that night. We just had a blast with you. What I like about you is you know how to balance like being funny with, having a corporate job. You don't seem to be uptight, and it's just it's great to have you on like that,
Well, I appreciate that, my man. Sometimes it's when keeping it real goes wrong, but I'm always up for having a damn good time, and if you don't want to have a good time, I don't want to be around you.
Well, here's the thing. I want to ask you this. You could answer this. You don't have to get into it at all because, again, first of all, plug your show. When are you on? When can we find you? On CBS Radio, right?
Yeah, Gio and Jones on CBS Sports Radio Network. We're on from 6 to 9 Eastern. Monday through Friday, and then I'm on Inside College Football on the CBS Sports Television Network.
Hey, Brian.
Every Tuesday.
Hey, Brian, pull the mic away from your mouth a little bit because you're back to distorting.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah, is that better?
No problem.
Yeah, good. Okay, sorry. We just want to make sure we hear you. Yeah. So it's you and that guy that I originally saw you with. You have you and a co-host, right?
To me, it used to be Chris Moore. That was the Mojo show when I was on in the evenings. Now I'm on with a young fella named Greg Giannotti.
Right.
And we're on 6 to 9 every morning, man, bright and early. I got to get my ass up at 4 in the morning every day.
I did that, man. I did that with the Stern Show for 8.5 years, and people said to me, the only part of the Stern Show that remotely felt like work was getting up, and then I did stand-up on the weekend, so I became nocturnal on the weekends, and then it was like I had a paper route during the week. And you gotta, I tell you, I have dreamed one day this might happen, man. The Brian and Artie show. How's that sound? One day.
Let's do it. All right. The B&A show or the A and B show. Hell, you're first. I'm always going to be second fiddle to you.
I'll give you the respect. Because you deserve it. But politically, about what's going on right now, when you see stuff like Paris and shit like that, I mean, what goes through your mind? Like as an American, I'm serious. I mean, are you scared? Do you want blood? Like, what do you think of when you watch this shit?
First of all, I like for a lot of people here to quit blaming America for what's happening in France.
Right.
And while the world is interconnected, especially in an economic sense, and now it needs to be even more so interconnected from a political sense with all these nut jobs running around trying to kill people in the name of their religion. It's just a damn shame, man. It's terrifying, you're right. But what can you do other than keep going on, moving forward, and doing your thing? That's the key, and then hopefully we can partner together collectively around this world and and smoke these cats out, and I don't think you're going to be able to talk any sense into them. So you're going to have to blow them to smithereens, or as Mike Tyson said, knock them into Bolivia.
Move them to Bolivia. I think you really meant that.
Yeah. No. We don't want to move them there. We want to get them off this earth. Send them to Mars or somewhere where they can do whatever the hell it is they want to do. But it's just a damn shame that we're having to deal with nonsense like that. Even here in our own country with domestic terrorism, these nut jobs who don't believe in equality and are still rallying around a Confederate flag and stupid ideas like that. I mean, it's just insane, some of the stuff that continues to persist, whether it's from abroad or even here at home. Back to Rodney King, why can't we all get along? You guys like you and I, we can get along with anyone as long as they treat us fairly or as my buddy down in Texas would say, I'm gonna do unto others before they do unto me.
Well, I mean, you said when it comes from abroad, it is the worst. When a woman says it, it's terrible.
But you said no, right?
Yeah. No, but you said, the thing you said that's the biggest thing that people got to get through their heads is we're not going to talk sense into someone who's going to blow their fucking self up. No. It's not going to happen. So not ever. And if you hate the way we live and all that shit, how about not come to our country? Yeah.
If you don't like the freedom you have in France, how about not go to that country?
Right.
Or any other country where you don't like their ideas and the way they go about doing things, stay your ass in the desert. Nobody's forcing you to go to these countries. You chose to go to them, and if you want to have your little caliphate or whatever the hell you want to call it, do your little party in there in that desert, man, or wherever it is in the mountains of Afghanistan. Leave us the hell alone.
I think that the big thing is, they hate when people have fun. I think they really get pissed off when they see people enjoying themselves. And I mean, think about, your life. It's a charmed existence. You worked hard for it, but you made money playing football, and now you're broadcasting, and it's really a charmed life. And then people get jealous of that here. And imagine, over in Saudi Arabia when these people are, keeping you down, and then you start to say, okay, America's financing these people that are keeping me down. And then you get jealous and blah, 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 blah. And as soon as you see one Usher video, you want to kill us. we're having nothing but a good time. There's pussy all over the place. And, I think that's what it comes down to. They think it's one big party over here. And when you're not invited to the party, you get mad. But what they don't realize is they are invited to the party. Come over. What do we give a shit?
Right. We're trying to have those 70 virgins right here, right?
I tell you, man, that whole thing. If one of these terrorists goes to wherever they go after they die and take a bunch of people with them, I really hope the 70 virgins are dudes. That would be great. Hi, Osama. Hi, Osama. It's me. I'm one of your virgins. I'm Jerry.
That's the funniest shit I've ever heard.
There's a lot of straight virgin dudes though.
That's a good point.
That'd be bad for other people.
That's an excellent.
You hope it's 70 Charlie Sheens, right?
Yeah. Oh God. What about that? First of all, I mean, the amount of fucking Charlie Sheen has done. I know, Brian, you're probably up there, but you at least do it on the under the radar. Charlie Sheen is he gets AIDS or HIV. He's HIV positive. He's still banging chicks. Just doesn't care.
Yeah, man.
Look, he might be facing criminal charges. Actually, I bet he's still getting shaken down by some of these people who he might have infected.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's criminal. If you knowingly do that, there's a law in the books, right?
Yeah, he said he was paying off people, blackmailing him to protect his reputation, but I don't think Charlie Sheen is worried about his reputation.
Yeah. What are you going to run for Senate?
Sued.
I'm going to lose my Coca-Cola campaign. He's got 2.5 Men money. That's the difference between Charlie Sheen and some of these other stories, and he's not pathetic money-wise. Charlie Sheen has a boatload of money where some of these other guys don't. And think about it. He had enough money to pay $10 million in blackmail. That means you probably have a couple $100 million bucks.
Unreal that he would go to those links and he's saying his side of the story. And there's always two sides of the story, then there's the truth. But he's saying, hey, I divulged this information beforehand. They went through with whatever it is we did,
Right.
and then they want to turn around and blackmail me. I mean, of course, I saw a heading today earlier, just in passing, where a person said she was not aware that he was HIV positive. So he may have created a huge shitstorm for himself. But what a crazy story, and then for him to go out in public and finally admit that is just even more surreal.
Well, and the reason he does it is financial. It's not moral or ethical. It's like, look, I can't keep up this money flow.
Right.
He first of all, how much of a whore do you have to be if a woman has two pieces of information? One, you're Charlie Sheen. Two, you're HIV positive. Okay,
Yeah.
I've looked over the forms and I'm still gonna fuck you. Where do I check? Where do I check that? I mean, come on, have a little self-respect. I mean, do you go? Is John Cryer available? Can I fuck him? Is there anyone you know who's famous with? Is Emilio around? Is he HIV positive? Okay, he was dating porn stars, obviously. So who knows?
Right.
I know this chick from the Stern Show. Actually, this is what's her first name? This broad. This was his girlfriend. Dan just hands me things. Wait a minute. You're gonna Bree Olson, okay? Bree was on the Stern Show all the time, and she was very, very promiscuous. You could tell that she would have fucked anybody who could have got her on Stern. I mean, that was that's what it seemed to be.
So how was it, Artie?
I tell you, I won't say her name, but one porn star I met on Stern blew me on a beach in Miami in front of the Delano about 5 a.m. And if my life could have just said the end, like if my life was a movie and it said the end right there, it would have been a very, pardon the pun, happy ending.
You want to be like Richard Pryor. You want to be in that long line. Which line you want to be in? The one where you die?
Right. Yeah, if I could have stopped there, that would have been good. Of course, it just went downhill from there. But when you get blown from a porn star, and I'm sure you know this, Brian, that is a professional blowjob. That is it's like watching a master carpenter on PBS build a deck, And then
that's like going to Jiffy Lube.
Yeah, they have like a mechanic shirt with their name on it. Okay, this is gonna be this is your blower. This is Rachel. Yeah.
They get you in and they get you out, baby.
As opposed to those, like in San Francisco, those happy ending places there where it's some like 58-year-old Asian woman who just did a load of dishes. She comes out with palm olive on her hands, and she's got to pay the rent, and she's like, almost like the deer hunter with the guy with the sound the guy makes when they're playing Russian roulette in the deer hunter, like she's Mow! Yeah, mow! She hits your cock and you come in 2 seconds because she's a pro, but there's nothing sexy about it. But Bree Olson was just, you could tell she was trouble too. And, again, she claims, is this the one who claims she got infected? She was having sex with the actor every single night around the time he found out he was infected, yet never said anything ever. I'm clean, he told me. I'm clean. One-time porn star Bree Olson said. So she's not saying if she's infected, but I guess she's one of the ones. They're all looking for money is what's happening.
Right, right.
Were you ever blackmailed by a chick, Brian? You don't have to give details, but I mean, you're an NFL player. Did you ever get into a situation with a broad when you were single that you were go, whoa, this chick's trouble?
You can identify them. If you got good game, the ones that could possibly be trouble, and you're like, nah, I'm going to say no and go the opposite direction. This may be more of a headache than it's worth. So I've been in that situation where you can definitely ID that one and say, it's better to move on. It's not worth the headache. It's going to be down the road.
No, a true player is a guy who knows how to say no to sex. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're like, look, I'm not desperate to where I need to fuck you and you're trouble.
Right.
So it's like, go down the line to somebody else. Go to Peyton Manning.
Go somebody who makes millions, not my little ass.
Go to the Manning brother who's not in the NFL. He's at all the parties. Cooper. Well, let's talk a little football. What Peyton Manning, is he done? He should. I mean, he's done, right?
Listen, it looks as though the sun is setting on this career. It's unfortunate. It's surrounding injuries because a guy with such an illustrious career to have to go out with injuries, and he dealt with them last year. Remember how poorly he played in the playoff game versus the Colts, and now he's dealing with them, and they're going to sit him, and I just can't foresee him getting over the injuries he sustained, shoulder and rib, and now the plantar fasciitis. I just can't see him overcoming that, especially at his age. Even a younger guy dealing with all those collectively at one time, it would be difficult to overcome. So I think we may have seen the last of him. I'm not going to count him out just yet, but I think it's going to be very hard for him to overcome what he's dealing with right now.
You know, you're a guy who competed on that level. Do you think there's any part of Peyton Manning that stuck around because there was, maybe he doesn't admit it, blah, 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 that really wants to get a second ring so he has as many as Eli? I'm not even joking about that. Like his brother, who was always known as not being the one who was, the ultimate player, has more rings than him. Does that drive a guy, you think? I think it's
that drives you. The fact that you want to outdo your sibling, of course, that's going to drive you. That's driven you your entire life, although you're proud of your sibling. But secondly, you've got that competitive fire where you just have the hunger for another one. And once you've tasted one, and I've never tasted any, but once you've tasted one, you continue to have that drive and that hunger to have another. So he's playing for the love of the game. A lot of people do. People used to get on Brett Favre when he would come back multiple times. Like, you got to be kidding me, man. There's an expiration date on your career, so you're going to play as long as they will have you. And I never blamed Brett Favre for continuing to come back, and I wouldn't do that with Peyton Manning. The reason he's back is because he thinks he can still help this team, and it's hard for these guys who played as long as he has. It was hard for me to give it up after 5 years, doing something I had done since I was at an organized age, 10 years of age. And so it's difficult to let go, man. You didn't get to be the best by quitting. And so when it's time to say goodbye, it's hard to say goodbye.
Well, listen, I mean, look, Joe and I do comedy. I know it's hard for me on the road after doing an hour of stand-up in a theater. Just to come down from that is hard.
Right.
I mean, the competitive level of football, it is like a war. You'd have a bond with people. And I was going to ask you, was there a period where it really was a letdown to where you're going, how am I going to get that action, that excitement back,
Well, you ask yourself, you're comic, you're successful. How the hell can you replicate that once you leave the stage? Once you leave the screen, there's no way you can do that. They're the same in sports. Now, I've sort of reinvented myself. Well, I haven't sort of reinvented myself. I have reinvented myself, but I've kind of, inched upon feeling what I did playing a game by being in broadcasting, by being able to scream at people.
Well, you're good at it, though. You are good at this.
Well, I do it my way, and if I'm gonna get fired, I'm gonna get fired being me. So that's not being braggadocious. That's just the truth. And that's a pact I made with myself. And not everyone's going to get me. Not everyone gets you. But that's life. So be it. And once you come to terms with that, hey, you're off and flying.
Yeah.
Fuck everybody else. I got to do this my way. And hopefully there's enough people that enjoy it and see it as entertainment. So far, so good. But there's no way you can replicate the highs of playing that game. You run out there in that stadium, there's 100,000 people cheering for you, and there are other people that are cheering against you. You love that. And the thing about sports is, we can wean ourselves off of this broadcasting stuff. You can wean yourself off of a stellar movie career. There's no weaning yourself off of playing ball or playing baseball or playing basketball. When they say it's over, it's over. It's like shutting off a faucet. Boom. Right. No dripping. It's done.
Right. I mean, Joe, do you have that feeling?
He hung around for the passing yardage record and the touchdown record, and it's, the personal accolades would probably feel pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's what you go for, too. You're right, exactly.
It's a team sport, but, I want people to say I'm the best, and it's the same with comedy, except you don't have to quit comedy. You can do this till
that's the thing. Yeah, Don Rickles is 90 still doing comedy. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, they got $1 billion. What are they doing this for? Clearly, because they can. They can still do it.
Right.
I love that people question it. It's like, oh, why does he want to keep going out there and doing the thing he's done all his life that pays him millions of dollars and gets him lots of fame?
Right. Why are you doing this? I don't know.
Because you're good at it.
Yeah.
You're good at it, and you like it, and you initially started doing it when you first got into it. You didn't get into it to be rich. You found you had a knack knack for it, and it's the same in any industry or space that you find yourself in. If you got a knack for it and it feels like it comes not easy, that's probably too shallow of a word, but it seems like it's a good fit for you, and then you continue to excel and build upon that. You do what you've always done, and you enjoy it. You know, like we always say, if it feels like work, it's work. I don't want to do it if it feels like work.
But it's one of the coolest ways to work.
Sure. I mean, again, this isn't. I mean, look, Satchel Paige said it best, right? He said, "Don't stand when you can sit. Don't run when you can walk." And like comedy or playing ball, it's a way to make money without working in a way, you know. I mean, my old man, you know, took ladders off of the roofs of vans in 2-degree weather for 12 hours a day to make. On a good day, he made about $180. He took home, you know, and he would fall asleep at the dinner table because he was so tired from working. He's not around anymore. But if he heard me bitching about my life, he'd be able to take a bat to my head. I mean, this is not working. Right. I haven't worked since my mid-20s. You know?
Well, Artie, I'm not gonna sit here and brag and say that I walk, you know, through the 10 miles through the snow barefoot growing up, but I did all those things that we would do at a younger age that you don't see the generation doing now. That's coming
me too.
up.
Me too. Right?
I worked in the car wash detail when I was in junior high at the local Alderson Cadillac dealership in Lubbock, Texas. I worked in the cotton fields in Seminole, Texas.
Right.
I did roofing. I did construction. You know, we pitched watermelons. We did all that stuff growing up. Those were our summer jobs, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm enjoying the hell out of it right now. I've earned the right to work 6 months out of the year in football and do a 3-hour radio show and be done for the day. And I'm not going to apologize to anyone.
No, I agree with you. I came from nothing, you know, absolutely. And I was a longshoreman. It was this or loading trucks. I didn't go to an ounce of not one college credit to my fucking name, you know, and I had to go to summer school to get out of fucking high school. I failed gym my senior year, put it that way. I
wonder why.
Yeah, well, I didn't rotate properly in volleyball. That's what. You know, who knew? But I saw a shot of either where I got out of loading trucks. It was telling jokes, and I got lucky and made it. But again, I think. Satchel Paige, that's the best advice, man. Don't be guilty about it. If you can sit, don't stand up. You know, what the fuck? You owe it to the other people who have to stand up to do that. My old man would have said that. He goes, do it for me. Don't work for me. You know, it's
right. Yeah, exactly. And then the key to it all is just be humble about it and don't be flashy and disrespectful to others, but definitely don't apologize for busting your ass to get where you are.
Well, let's talk about. I'm a Giant fan. That loss to the Patriots, man, might have been. That's the worst regular season loss I've ever experienced.
Wait, hold on. Wait, you want some empathy for my ass? My Cowboys have lost 7 straight.
I know.
You want to talk about your Giants?
Yeah. Well, again, Jerry Jones to me is not someone I can ever feel sorry for. The guy is clearly an evil beast.
How about Jerry Jones? A couple months ago, Brandon Whedon. He's got a beautiful arm. He throws a beautiful pass. Then he cuts him. He just cuts him.
Because he's evil. He's a Bond villain, Jerry Jones. He should be in the next Bond. It should be Jerry Jones he's trying to kill. But again, okay, I'll give you a sympathy if you want it. But the Patriots and Tom Brady, I just honestly, Bob Kraft, I've worked for the guy. The guy hired me once. He paid me very well to do stand-up in his home. And he's a good man, but enough of them already. Is Tom Brady that good, or is he one of these guys who's just a winner? Ability-wise, where do you put Tom Brady? Strictly talent. Where's Tom Brady in the top 10 quarterbacks? Ever.
All of that. He's in the pantheon of quarterbacks. I would say he may be. Man, he's definitely top 3.
Really?
I had Troy Aikman on my show 2 weeks ago, and I asked him where he placed him. He said he may be the best I've seen.
Wow.
So
really,
that's saying a lot for Troy Aikman, who's won 3 rings, to say that. And this guy is phenomenal, and he's had a changing carousel of wide receivers there with New England. And he just makes everyone better.
But okay, there's that. But there's stuff out of his control that add to that legend. Like if Seattle just runs the fucking football last year a few times to Marshawn Lynch, do you say the same thing about Brady? One of those
they
close.
got there.
Yeah.
I still say the same thing about him. He got there, and they were in a position to win, even though he lost the 2 to the Giants.
Right.
He got there. I mean, so you got to look at the guy who's played in 6 Super Bowls now.
Yeah, 4 for 6.
And won 4.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on. You give credit where credit's due. The guy's just a phenomenal player, and he's a winner and all that. And he's a professional. He works hard at his craft. Here's a guy that they said, you're a 6th-round pick. You may never see the field. You probably shouldn't even be drafted, but we're going to draft you anyway. And look where he is now. He's sitting at the top of the highest level of the game. Give credit where credit's due. He's a bad motherfucker.
You could have one coach, Belichick or Tom Landry, in a Super Bowl. One guy.
I'm taking Belichick.
There you go.
I'm a lifelong Cowboy fan, and I love me some Tom Landry. I'm taking Belichick.
Nice. Okay.
He probably knows your plays. The other team.
That's right. That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah. Belichick, before the invention of the tape recorder or the videotape, Belichick's not as good a coach.
Pre-video recording, I go with Landry.
Well, well, let's talk about the inflation, the footballs. How much do you put into that scandal with the inflate gate, whatever you want to call it? Does that hurt Brady's, legend? Do you put an asterisk there because of the cheating aspect of the Patriots?
First of all, Belichick was deep throat. And and not Linda Lovelace. No, you know what? It doesn't bother me at all. And I said this numerous times. I thought it was much ado about nothing. I don't give a damn how much air is in or out of the football. Can you stop the man?
Right.
And so there should be no complaining about footballs. He's still whipping your ass. Get over it. And guys are going to look for an edge myriad ways, and that's just part of it. So I don't understand how air pressure enters into the equation. He can sling it with the best of them. So shut up. If there was something untoward going on with the balls, it's unfortunate. But quarterbacks like their balls different ways. It's just. I thought it was much ado about nothing. And look at the NFL; they got egg all over their face trying to deal with this.
I agree with you.
Leave the damn balls alone.
Now, how do you think Aaron Rodgers likes his balls?
He likes them very hard. He likes them hard and no fuss.
Dan is a Bears fan, as you know.
He wants them firm.
Yeah, Dan.
He wants them real firm.
Dan swears as a Bears fan that Aaron Rodgers is gay. He's believing that rumor.
Oh.
He's believing
and he's with that Hollywood actress, isn't he?
Okay. You mean the one Liberace was dating for a while?
Was she on the Daily Show for a while?
Oh, the chick is dating?
Munn. Olivia.
What's her name?
Is it Olivia Munn?
Yeah,
Olivia Munn. I did
Brian.
I did a talk show with her once. I did the Jimmy Fallon show with Olivia Munn. She is hot, man.
So she's a front, huh? She's kind of like that car wash the drug dealer puts up.
Brian, last year, about a year and a half ago, I think it was Deadspin. They ran a story about Aaron Rodgers, some guy that he was dating, and he was gay. And obviously, we made fun of it on the show, but I don't believe it.
Listen, that's when you know you've made it.
Right.
That's when you know you've made it, when they start questioning your sexuality. That's why I know I'm a F-lister.
So
because they have a question about sexuality.
So even though the Bears won on Sunday, the Packers lost, and my absolute favorite sport and favorite pastime is to listen to Packers postgame after they lose. The second caller was, listen, guys, I think that this whole thing about Aaron not coming out of the closet, and we know that the girlfriend is a beard, and you could hear the guys going, what is he talking about? We all know that. Just have him come out of the closet. We'll accept him. He's not playing the same way. And when they discovered that he was dating a guy, and then they finally hung up on him. That was the second caller on
So
Packers
Dan's basically on a caller at the Green Bay radio station. Again, I think it would do a lot for the gay community if the best player in the league came out. It really would. It would do a lot, but I don't think it's true.
I wish Jay Cutler was gay.
So you could date him. Do you hear any rumors about Dan Filato about being gay?
Every so often I'll see something like in the bathroom stall, for a good time called Dan Filato.
Yeah.
Well, do you know who Rick Steves is, Brian?
Is he any kin to Seabass?
He's a PBS travel aid guy, and Dan can't be in the same room as him. He loves him so much he gets the shakes and sweats around him. And if you just Google him and listen to him, and next interview we'll talk to you about him, what you think about him. Give me is anyone going to beat the Pats? Is anybody going to beat the Patriots? Are we going to look at an undefeated season here?
Well, it's amazing against your Giants. They lose Edelman, his number one target. They were without 3 offensive linemen, and yet they were still able to overcome that and find a way to get a victory. So at this point, I'm going to say no, unless they really, really stub their toe. If they turn the ball over numerous times, I'm going to say no, that no one's going to beat them. I can't see it. And part of me wants to see them go undefeated so you can see all the old Miami Dolphins come out of the woodwork and start hating on them. I love that when those cats come out on their canes and Shula's Belichick and all that, man. It's hilarious.
Well, that's protective of it.
Yeah, very protective of it.
Right. Well, listen, I mean, the NFL to me, the future is questionable because, no kids are playing football anymore. And, I mean, how, when people ask the commissioner now, when they ask Goodell if it's a brutal game, he can't even say it's a brutal game. It's like he's afraid to say those words. Clearly, it's obvious that you're going to get hurt if you play football. Odds are you're going to get hurt. You're going to get a concussion. And what do you think is going to happen if parents just don't let their kids play football anymore?
Well, I would say one, deny the notion that they're not playing. They're still playing it. They just got to learn to play it learn to play it a safer way, I should say. And yeah, it's inherently dangerous. We knew that way back when I was playing Pop Warner at 10 years old. But there's a way to play the game, and even when you play it correctly, sometimes unfortunate situations can arise. So you're aware of that. And the NFL has made this bad for itself. Right. They could have come clean a long, long time ago about their research and what was really out there and what was occurring with the former players and current players, but they chose not to. They chose to go the route that they did, and they're paying for it. But there's no doubt that the game is violent. You're going to sustain injuries. Hell, there's a reason I walk like Fred Sanford. I'm so beaten up. I mean, it's a tough sport, but I bet if you ask the majority of the people who played it, would they do it again? The majority of them would say yes, we would do it again because it's a fun sport. And where else can you hit someone in the mouth and not go to jail?
That's true. Well, apparently in my kitchen in the 70s with my mother and father.
I'm coming to your house there.
That's a dark area I won't get into. Well, listen, if you're walking like Fred Sanford ain't the problem. When you start talking like Grady, then there's a problem.
Go.
All right, Brian, listen, man. We're gonna have, you can come on whenever you want. You got an open invite, buddy. I mean,
okay, and you're right down the street from me now. You're not that far, right?
I am. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, once season's over, everything calms down because I've got 2 of days. Radio in the morning, TV in the evening. So,
right.
They're working me like a rented mule. So once that slows, and I'm not complaining. So once that slows down, I'm gonna come do it.
Brian, before you go, because the fans demand it, just one line from Smokey and the Bandit.
There ain't no way you could have come from my loins. When I get home, I'm going to pop your mama in the mouth.
Brian, one of the few black guys who will do a Southern racist sheriff impression.
I'd love to play that.
Yeah. You would be good at it.
Southern racist sheriff. Oh, hell yeah. That'd be good.
First thing I'm going to do when I get home is punch your mama in the mouth. All right, Brian, I love you, man. You be well.
Love you, dog. Take care, my man.
Take care of yourself. The great Brian Jones. Intimidating, right?
Yeah.
He's a big guy, man, and he is made of concrete. That guy, he's like one of those guys you hug and it's like, whoa, you break a finger hitting his back with your finger. But a good man. It's like it's hard to relate to that sports mentality. Like we have a competitive. Are you a competitive guy? You seem like a very Joe Machi, by the way, is a comic that I have a lot of respect for. What an amazing writer, a unique. He's a guy who, again, the direct opposite of a hack. He's an original. Original delivery, great writing, and a good guy.
Oh, thank you so much.
I think everybody likes Joe Machi. But do you have a competitive nature with people? Does that come
definitely.
out? Yeah, okay.
Because I think it's with the people you come up with when you see that, like Michelle Wolf or Sam Morril have like a new joke.
Right.
Like, crap, I gotta get something that people are talking about.
Well, but those are people you like. Like, do you get mad when you see someone that you don't respect or you hate making it? You don't have to say
No,
names.
I don't get mad. I just get frustrated when audiences laugh at jokes that have been
easy stuff
or have been done
right.
in different ways. Like any kind of, like, where was I the other day? And someone did a bit about white people dancing and just murdered. And I'm like,
was it a black comic?
No, it was a white comic.
Oh, really?
And like, to me, it's like anytime there's a stereotype, that's a joke that's been told so many times that you don't even have to have the setup and the premise.
Right.
You just have to get to the punchline.
Yeah.
And
that's a good sign if something's original or not. If you don't find you don't have to set it up at all.
But there's a lot of
discussed so much.
There's a lot of audience though that it's tough because it's that late show Friday night.
Right.
They went to work that day. They've had a number of beers, and then you're trying to bring up a new idea.
They don't want to hear art.
They're like, "What's this guy killing baby Hitler?" They hear words,
right?
And then they get angry because they didn't hear the whole.
Well, Joe,
whole
again, they don't know context. You're right.
No.
Joe does one of the funniest bits I've seen in a long time. Very original. About well, again, give the premise. What is it?
Well, I say in the idea, like a lot of people talk about what they do if they had a time machine, and one of the things they say is they go back and kill Hitler to prevent World War II.
That is something like since the 70s, a lot of intellectuals at cocktail parties would have that like debate too.
Yeah,
right.
And
but it also is talked about on construction sites, so it's everybody.
Everybody talks about
right.
like what would they do?
The time machine and killing Hitler, right?
Yeah,
good question.
And my thing was like, well, if I went back and killed baby Hitler and Back to the Future, all the time machines break. So what if I just killed this baby?
Yeah, you're the only one who knows
they're
what's
not
going to happen.
Believe I have a time machine. They're going to be like, "What the hell did you do that for?" And I'm like, "I'm from the future. This makes so much sense."
Right, and then you're going, well, let me tell you what this baby was going to do.
Yeah, and they're not going to believe that. Like a shower that is poison. It's ridiculous. And then I try to take it further by saying, like, well, if I kill baby Hitler, like, what if, like, Reichsfuhrer Himmler,
right? They have,
or
he had
propaganda minister did the same thing.
He had people who helped him. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to kill a lot of babies to
Baby
get this,
Goering?
to get even like I'd have to go back to like World War I and make sure America doesn't enter whatever I have to do. And then
so now it's a mass murder of babies that you have to explain.
I'm going to look like a terrible person in the history books, but I know I've done something good. And Louis C.K. was sitting at the table and he said, like, what if Hitler had a time machine?
Right. And when it came
like,
here?
And he
future? Or what,
he was doing something to prevent something from way in the future. And I'm like, oh boy.
Wow. That
is a turn.
That gets darker.
Yeah. And I don't know if I could bring it that far.
Yeah, no, that's where you start to lose people.
Yeah. Oh, I'd lose people way before that.
Yeah.
Way
well,
before
if you bring
that.
up Hitler, sometimes they don't like and they don't even. Okay, listen.
It's such an absurd idea, and I would never mean to disrespect anyone who went through that. But honestly, I think someone who went through that isn't worried about some dumb comedian's ridiculous joke about a machine that doesn't even exist.
And they're probably not at the Comedy Cellar if you survived Auschwitz in the third row in 2015. My grandfather, not Jewish, Italian, though, fought against the Germans, was caught in a prison camp, and I love the guy to death. I don't get offended by that stuff. Again, I'm not pretending to have gone through what a lot of even the ancestors and the grandkids of Jewish people who went through that. That's as bad as it gets. But
people
what you do, it's a funny joke of what you're doing there.
Yeah, and people say even joking about certain topics trivializes it.
Right.
And I'm like, does it? When you see when you see Schindler's List,
right.
Are you thinking about a comedian's dumb joke about a time machine?
It doesn't trivialize it at all.
It's like when people say Willie Mays is falling down the outfield at the end of his career. People remember it. No, they don't.
No.
They remember 660 home runs.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah, exactly.
The only people who remember that are people talking about him falling down the outfield and how. That's the only time people remember it.
Exactly. Like if JFK, if the last thing JFK said before he got shot was the N-word, I wouldn't believe that. I'd remember all the stuff he did for black people.
Well, sure. And
actually, I don't know if it was on tape. I'd probably remember that. That's a bad example.
And like, what if you went back in time and like saved JFK from being killed and it started some other horrible thing?
That's right. Stuff affects other things.
Yeah, you never know
Yeah.
what. It's like the whole butterfly effect. But and like people tweeted at me, it's like, oh, the New York Times magazine stole your joke, and
Right, they came out with a poll not long after with that question: would you kill baby Hitler? And they phrased it, baby Hitler.
that's why I thought it might have been something. That they
Joe,
saw.
I'm telling you, those guys go to places like the Comedy Cellar and they rip us off all the fucking time, all the time.
Right. But also it is an idea that's out there. I have to give them some benefit of the doubt. Because,
Yeah, okay, but the baby Hitler thing, I think, is your best argument because that makes it funnier. That phrase.
Yeah, because that's what bothered me about the Terminator movies.
Right.
Why would robots go back and kill an adult Sarah Connor that can run and think?
Yeah.
When I could have killed baby Sarah Connor so much. Things are so easy to kill.
You just go like another 22 years back.
They're like, make sure your baby doesn't turn over. That's how, like, and you're waiting until she's like 22 and has a job and like a credit card.
Well, I have a joke, where I say I would kill baby Ryan Seacrest, baby A-Rod. But what about, really think about that, besides baby Hitler? Baby Robert Kardashian. Baby, I mean, do you think society's better without those girls?
I think if you eliminated the Kardashians, it would just be some other
another figurehead,
dumb rich family that our publicity
on that
wars.
level, though. I mean, they're extraordinary.
I think they're the first, but I almost have to give them some credit because to me, it's almost like they're doing an Andy Kaufman type routine, where it's like they're being so over the top, ridiculously stupid with
and they don't know
fake
it,
weddings and all this nonsense, and people just fall for it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, fake weddings that they make money off of. Like she pocketed a couple $1,000,000 on that Chris Humphries thing.
It's so disappointing that you look at how many Twitter followers that she has, and then how many Twitter followers that Colin Quinn or.
Oh, I know.
It's just like, oh no, you're following the wrong people.
But it shows you that Twitter's for kids, though. That's what that shows you, because it's obvious that younger people, like Bruce Springsteen, has 500,000 Twitter followers. If it were 1977, he'd probably have 20 million because it's younger people.
That's a good point,
Right.
and there's a lot of great young artists that have a ton of Twitter followers and a lot of great young comedians, but I've had people that I respect to talk to me about the Kardashians.
Well, do you measure? See, that's the thing about the younger generation. Do you measure someone by their Twitter followers? I guess we do, right? I mean, do you measure someone's
I know comedy
importance and
clubs
relevant?
do.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of times comedians get a lot of Twitters from being on MTV.
Yeah,
and then they go on the road and they're not quite ready. And it anytime.
Oh, those Girl and Guy Code people have 7 minutes of stuff. A lot of them.
Some of them are great.
Yeah.
Like Dan Soder's an amazing comedian.
Oh no, yeah, I don't put him in that. I don't put Dan in that category.
There's a lot of them that I'm not saying they can't be good, but they're not ready yet.
I'm saying they can't be good.
I think it hurts. I think it hurts to have success. That's why when people criticize Justin Bieber, I'm like, this guy's been successful before he knew how to fail.
Right.
This guy's never been rejected by a woman.
Yeah, I know.
That like crushed him.
I mean, he probably would have been an asshole if he parked cars for a living, and now add this. I mean,
I would be such a jerk.
Yeah.
If I was
would you though? I don't know if you would. I don't know if you
yeah.
would be. No, because you're not a jerk now.
Well,
you have some success. You're a respected comic. Yeah, I mean, how many Twitter followers do you have?
I have like 29,000. It's probably dropping.
No,
because every time I tweet more than like one joke a day, I find that it goes down.
Do people unfollow you?
Yeah, people unfollow you, and also like if you say anything that like might upset, is a little bit on the edge. We were talking about a little bit.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
that people are afraid to take a risk, and I'm like, yeah, go take a risk. Like, and I just hate the idea that like if people don't like one joke I said, that's fine.
Right.
It's the idea that everyone has to agree with everything everyone says all the time.
Makes no sense.
It makes
Look
no
how
sense.
boring.
It doesn't mean that I can't like that person as a person.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they can't like me, and it doesn't mean that I'm right. Like I heard Bill Burr say, I think he said on his podcast, it's like, when did it start that I have to always be right all the time?
Yeah.
And it's just so silly to me that like, I made a joke about John Kerry saying that Charlie Hebdo
thing was rational.
At least had some rationale to it. He didn't, and I don't want to say that he defended it or he said it was okay, but I think that there's some sort of need of some people to say when there's a terrorist action that, oh, how can we also not hurt their feelings.
Right.
And it just bothered
That's
me.
certainly the liberal point of view, absolutely, where John Kerry comes from. But, I mean, John Kerry, he caught himself immediately.
He did.
And I don't know if he caught himself because he was afraid of backlash or he really felt maybe I said something wrong. I mean, we're finding out through all this that, first of all, John Kerry, he ran in 2004 as a man of the people. And then there was a shot of him snowboarding in Aspen.
He parked his boat, his yacht, in another state to avoid the taxes on his yacht.
And a lot of regular guys speak that good of French. I mean, he's speaking fluent French on TV every time I put it on. It's like, wow. Okay. Yeah, I relate to you, John. Yeah.
And I don't want to be a gotcha guy. And, I'm sure he did kind of realize it. And all these guys are speaking in the moment.
Yeah, it's tough. It is. I don't blame the guy. But you got something like Fox News, which is the most entertaining news network, and they pounce right on that. I mean, a new drinking game, if I still drank, would be how many times someone on Fox News says, "How dare you?"
Well, even
every time, "How dare you?"
But even to me, like, Fox News is widely hated among comedians. But there was just a survey that came out that said 93% of journalists are liberal.
They're all
and I thought, well,
first of all.
look, if you're going to complain about Fox News being biased,
yeah.
Complain about NPR being biased. Complain about NBC.
Yeah, they're all
NBC
fucking. They all have an agenda. First of all, and the agenda. And if they know the agenda is not good for people, they still push it. And it doesn't. And Fox News is just as credible as any other news network. It's got the hottest chicks on the fucking planet, by the way. I am not a left wing liberal comic by any means. I probably go more to the right of anything. Of course, I'm a convicted felon. I can't vote, but I hate when I hear shit like that in show business in general. Like, you have to hate Fox News. And there's the idiots who hate it just because they know they have to hate it.
Yeah.
Because they might not be welcomed at the party,
To me, it's when people are offended about a joke that might be offensive to one group.
Right.
But then if they do a joke about a group that they don't care about,
they
don't say a word about it.
Of course, they don't defend it. They don't go out on a limb ever, Let me take a break. I want to try to find this one other thing about. I'm not going to say it, but all right, we'll take a break. I wanted to.
Hey everybody, it's Dan along with Joe, and Artie had to jump in the shower because they're coming to pick. Hey everybody, it's Dan along with Joe. Artie had to jump in the shower because they're coming to pick him up for the Pete Holmes Judd Apatow show. And Joe, why don't you tell us what you're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks?
Hey, just want to give a quick reminder to people that I'm taping my first album. It's November 24th at the Village Underground. It's a Comedy Central Comedy Cellar's satellite room. It's an 8 o'clock show and a 10 o'clock show. It's free. There probably is a drink minimum, but it's probably going to sell out. So if you're interested in seeing a great show, I got Cypher Sounds opening, Sam Morril middling, and then I'm probably going to do about 50 minutes, and it's going to be great. It'll probably be out mid-December on iTunes and Amazon.
So that is at
it's at the Village Underground.
Underground,
which is the satellite room of the Comedy Cellar. So if you go to the Comedy Cellar's website, you'll be able to make reservations right there.
You got it. Thanks, Joe, for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we will see you soon. Hopefully, we've just found out you live right near here, so hopefully you'll become a regular.
Oh, that'd be great. I appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks.
Thank you.